Will the beleaguered Uddhav Thackeray abandon Sharad Pawar and the Congress party to at least save his authority over his party while losing the government? I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. We're continuing to keep a close eye on the Maharashtra Mahabharat, and these are the main developments. The non-BJP parties like the Congress now look like they will be losing yet another state. This after the open rebellion by Eknath Shinde of the Shiv Sena, even as the Shiv Sena is now offering that if the MLAs, the rebel MLAs return, the Sena can walk out of the coalition and abandon both Sharad Pawar and the Congress party. The Congress is in a huddle but is not really a player in this game. If the government falls, as it now looks increasingly likely, the Congress will be out of power in yet one more state. Prithviraj Chavan, veteran politician of Maharashtra as well as the state's former chief minister, Congress leader, joins us on the program today to try and make sense of a drama that seems to have a new twist in the tail literally every minute. Mr. Chavan, thank you so much. It's great to see you after a long time. Let me start by asking you whether you believe that you are now about to be dumped by the Shiv Sena's Uddhav Thackeray in much the same way as his MLAs dumped him. You would have heard Sanjay Raut's statement. Sanjay Raut has basically said if the MLAs return, then the Shiv Sena will walk out of this coalition. Your comments?
No, I think first of all we must decide who controls the Shiv Sena today. Is the control of Shiv Sena with the CM Uddhav Thackeray, or the control of the Shiv Sena and the majority of the MLA, rather two-thirds MLA, are with Mr. Eknath Shinde. So the fate of the Shiv Sena will be decided by the respective factions. Now, if Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, with his reduced faction, whatever he wants to do, go with us, dump us and all that, it doesn't matter because he doesn't have the numbers. In order to get a majority in the House of, in the legislature, we need the full strength of the undivided Shiv Sena. If that doesn't happen, that Shiv Sena divides itself, then it is not able to bring enough numbers to form a majority. So there will be no government. So there's no question of anybody dumping anybody else at all. Now, the question is, does Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, the chief minister, does he still have the control of his party? I think
that's clearly the answer to that clearly is no so far.
No, it's an evolving situation. There are certain people in Guwahati. Some of them are people sent as messengers from Delhi. They are not part of that group. But anyway, for the split to be formally recognized, they have to approach the constitutional authorities. They have to go to the governor. They have to go to the honorable speaker, then demonstrate the list, parade MLAs if required, and then the split will be formalized. Then Mr. Eknath Shinde will be leader of the larger faction, maybe 40 MLAs, 37 MLAs, I don't know. But they require the magic number of 37 to effect an formal split under the anti-defection law.
Well, he says he has 38. He says he has 38 MLAs.
No, but it's a very dicey situation. The claim of Shiv Sena in Mumbai is that they have sent many messengers, MLAs and messengers, to persuade people to come back. They're not part of that group. So when that group approaches the governor, if they are not able to produce more than 37, then split will not be there. Perhaps they stand to be disqualified. So they are being extra careful. They're still trying to get a much larger margin of safety margin by maybe getting 40 Shiv Sena MLAs, 41, 42 Shiv Sena MLAs. So even if one or two have a change of heart at the last minute, that still not cause a problem. Otherwise, please understand it's a very dicey situation.
If they but from the point of view of your party, if there isn't a united Shiv Sena, the government falls and you're out of power anyway.
But that's all right. I mean, let us not forget that in 2019 November, when the election took place, we were defeated. The pre-poll alliance of BJP and Shiv Sena had won the election. If they had stayed together, they would have been in power. Mr. Fadnis would have been the chief minister. Because they had tiff each other, some promises were broken or whatever happened, we saw an opportunity and we grabbed it. And whenever moment the Shiv Sena came out of the pre-poll alliance of Shiv Sena and BJP, and we all of us considered a possibility of a three-way alliance, and that happened.
Yeah.
And we have been in the three-way alliance for 2.5 years is a bonus government for us. Let's not forget
Yeah,
that we have lost the election. We
yeah, but
salvaged the defeated.
but but given the state of the party right now, your party right now, even bonus opportunities should be hung on to for dear life. But
Absolutely.
here's my question.
Why not?
Yeah, Eknath Shinde's letter talks about an abandonment of Hindutva. It talks about the alliance itself being a compromise on the ideology. And my question to you is: you, as a veteran of the Congress, were involved in drafting the Common Minimum Program with Eknath Shinde. Now, today, he's talking about abandoning Hindutva principles. How do you respond to this?
Well, I think it's a completely an afterthought. The whole operation is engineered by BJP right from Delhi. The top leadership of Delhi is monitoring on a minute-to-minute
How
basis.
do you know that?
Mr. Devendra, yeah,
How do you know that?
Mr. Devendra Fadnavis rushes to Delhi to meet you know who, and gets the clearance for the operation, gets the logistics support, whether it is the Rajya Sabha election, whether it's a council election, whether the events which are unfolded after that. The BJP has a vested interest because BJP wants to control Mumbai Municipal Corporation elections to which are going to be held in the next couple of months. They have not been able to control BMC for a very long time. So unless they destroy Shiv Sena, split Shiv Sena, have an alliance with splinter group of Shiv Sena, they won't have any hope at all. So this is the operation directed firstly at Mumbai Corporation election, later on then the Maharashtra state itself, because it's the second largest state with 48 MPs to be sent to the parliament. So this is fine. Well, it's politics, and you know how BJP does this politics in Karnataka, Madhya Pradesh, Goa, other places. They're doing the same thing. We
You're
had
talking,
apprehensions
yeah.
that this would happen before BMC election, and that has happened. First attempt was Rajya Sabha election. Some votes were converted. In the council election, many more votes were converted, and that was a danger sign that something was afoot. Now, yes, Mr. Eknath Shinde is now talking about Hindutva and all that, but he was the one who drafted the Common Minimum Program on behalf of Shiv Sena. I was there from the side of the Congress party. Well, he didn't think of any Hindutva then. He was. We also remember when Devendra Fadnavis was the chief minister and he was a minister in that government. He actually cried in the Thane Municipal Corporate election about ill treatment meted out by Mr. Devendra Fadnavis to him. Now, in a government where Mr. Eknath Shinde expected to be the chief minister in 2019, whatever happened, somehow he did not become. Mr. Uddhav Thackeray became because the other two partners thought that there are many senior leaders in both Congress and NCP, that a junior person who has never been a senior player in the government may not be able to run the coalition together. Therefore, a condition was put that this three-party alliance must be led by Mr. Uddhav Thackeray himself. And that's how he became the chief minister. He is nursing that grudge that he lost an opportunity to become chief minister. Now, how he improves his position in this new possible alliance with BJP, I don't understand.
You've spoken about the BJP. You've spoken about the BJP and all this being a BJP plan, but there have also been those who have raised questions about the NCP and Sharad Pawar's role in this. There are questions being raised as how these MLAs had police escorts, as they were leaving town first to Surat, and then of course they ended up in Assam, in Guwahati. How do you see Mr. Pawar's role and Mr. Pawar's party role in this?
No, the Home Minister of the state belongs to NCP, Mr. Pawar's party. But it's not true that they were provided police escort in Mumbai. Now, we are all taken by surprise. I don't know whether the Home Minister knew about it, he informed the Chief Minister about it. I'm not aware of that. But they were provided police protection, police escort, police guard in Surat, in Guwahati. Because it was, they chose these states because they were BJP ruled states. They decided to go to these states. And then they shifted them from Gujarat to Guwahati because they thought Surat was very close to Mumbai. Anybody could sneak into Surat without anybody else noticing it. They don't have to come by air also. So they have gone to Gujarat. But Mr. Shinde himself has said that we have a support of a national party. How many national parties are there? Just 6. Was it Communist Party? Was it Congress? Was it NCP? It was only BJP.
No, but here's my question to you. The BJP's role you've spoken about, but Ajit Pawar as Home Minister has even spoken about this being an intelligence failure. The moment the cross voting takes place, Prithvi, in the elections to the Legislative Council, how do all of you not know what's following?
No, we knew that something was afoot. that, by the way, Ajit Pawar is not the Home Minister. Home Minister is Mr. Valsad
I'm
Patil.
sorry. I meant the Home Ministry is
Yeah,
with the NCP.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
I meant the Home
yeah,
Ministry is with the NCP. Yeah.
yeah. The NCP Home Minister should have known about it, but whether he warned the Chief Minister, I'm not sure that something was happening.
But are
But
you
if they,
suspicious? Are you suspicious? Do you believe the
no,
NCP
no,
has
no,
played a
no,
double
no,
game?
no, no, not at all. No, the NCP doesn't have anything to gain by the government falling. They are beneficiaries of the government. They have got important portfolios. So why should they give up a good thing? No, no, that's not true at all. These conspiracy theories may be floated by some other people. That's not true. We all in it together. But yes, Mr. Eknath Shinde was promised something from by the BJP. He's very close to the former chief minister because he's worked with Mr. Devendra Fadnavis for 5 years in the earlier stint of the government. They were in touch. So, well, BJP wants to have a play in Maharashtra, and this is how they're going to do it. Now, ultimately, what happens tomorrow, whether there is a formal split or not, then we'll see what happens after that. If there is a formal split and Mr. Eknath Shinde decides to go with BJP, then MUA government doesn't exist. And we will sit in the opposition. But if
Yeah.
something works out,
Yeah.
now you mentioned Mr. Sanjay Raut's statement. I think that don't read too much into it. The point is, it is also a request that MLA should come back, and they're convinced that if MLAs come back and meet Mr. Uddhav Thackeray face to face, he'll be able to convince
So
them.
you don't
Because
you
all
don't
of them,
actually think the Shiv Sena is planning to dump you?
no, no, that's not. It's out of the question because first of all, the whatever remains of the Shiv Sena, whether that faction of Shiv Sena wants to go with us, continue to work, only then the question of dumping arises. If they decide to go with BJP, then there is no MUA government at all. The
Yeah.
whole basis of MUA government was that three parties come together to oppose
Who
BJP.
who do you blame for this situation? What did Mr. Uddhav Thackeray do wrong that he lost control both of his party and his government? And what happens to the Shiv Sena now? Shiv Sena will exist without the Thackeray's, or
No,
there will be two Shiv Senas in case there is no
no.
reconciliation?
It is not for me to say what will happen to Shiv Sena. There have been splits in the Shiv Sena. Earlier, Mr. Bhujbal left Shiv Sena, Mr. Narayan Rane left Shiv Sena, his cousin Raj Thackeray left Shiv Sena. They've survived that. Now, this is another split. They may survive, they may not survive. Thackeray families hold over Shiv Sena, disappear. Somebody else like Mr. Shinde, who is not from the Thane family, comes from very ordinary background, humble background, but he's made it from the grassroots level. He became an important leader. He's a mass leader. Uh, we don't know what will happen. But fact remains that to now say we want to dump Congress and NCP because of Hindutva as an afterthought, they're entirely free to take whatever decision they want to take. They want to become extreme handlight Hindutva party, fascist Hindutva party. That's up to them. We'll not have any track with them. But if that largest component of the three-party alliance, the Shiv Sena, with its 55 MLAs. Now, what happens, I don't know whether the split is there or not. But even if split is there, at least 37 MLAs will be with Shiv Sena. Without them, the three-party alliance will not have a majority. There will be no MUA government.
Who do you blame for this situation? And please also reflect on the cross voting that takes place even for your own candidates in that legislative council election. You
Yeah,
saw it was Congress pitted against Congress.
yeah. No, I think what happened in the legislative council election to the Congress party was shocking. I mean, a Dalit candidate fielded from Delhi, especially, and another candidate, non-Dalit candidate, two candidates. They had less votes than required to get elected clearly, but we were sure that the second candidate will get some support of the independents, all that, work with us and all that, and we'll be able to manage to get both the seats. But actually, what happened? The Dalit candidate, who was given a quota of 29 votes while 26 was required to win, actually got only 22 votes. So
Yes.
7 people defied the party mandate. Now, it's a secret ballot, but I think the High Command knows who are the people who did not vote for the official candidate. Now, did they vote for the other Congress candidate who was given a quota of 15 but actually got 20?
Yeah.
So did 5 of the candidates, 5 of the voters who were assigned to Mr. Handore, the Dalit candidate, did they shift to Mr. Jagtap, the other candidate? Or, as some people say, that Mr. Jagtap got support of 5 independents from outside, and all 7 people voted out of the party, means they voted for BJP. If that is the case, then it's indeed a very, very serious matter. If 7 Congress MLAs out of 44 possibly voted for BJP, then that's a very serious instance of cross-voting and defying the party mandate. I have requested the party high command that they must take a serious action about what has happened and
Yeah.
identify the people who have done it.
Finally, if you've seen politics for a long time, you've been chief minister of that state. In your best estimation, I think you've already decided if the government lasts, it lasts. If not, you'll be in the opposition. In your best estimation, what do you think is going to happen next in Maharashtra?
Well, I think the NCP, the Shiv Sena group, which is with Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, is hopeful that they'll be able to convince the rebel MLAs, whatever the demands are, whatever readjustment within the party is to be done. They're hopeful. They are in touch with us constantly. We have given unstinted support to Mr. Uddhav Thackeray, led Mahavikas Aghadi government. There's no question of any other thought. If there is another formation come forward, we'll have to take a fresh call. Who is the person?
If the Shiv Sena were to reconcile its differences, but Uddhav Thackeray, who has already left the chief minister's official residence, and there you're seeing the display of strength by Eknath Shinde. Let's say hypothetically, Mr. Uddhav Thackeray said, "I will run the party. I don't want to be chief minister." Would your party back a coalition led by somebody else of the Shiv Sena?
Yeah, absolutely. If they want to work with us, they want to continue the Mahavikas Aghadi, and some other person wants to become the chief minister, of course, we'll have to take a fresh call and we'll have internal consultation. But by and large, I think in order to stop BJP from forming the government, we will, I think, go along with that new arrangement if it comes forward, if that offer comes to us.
So you'd be willing to support a non-Thackeray or somebody else, a change if the Shiv Sena manages to resolve its differences?
Absolutely.
But does that seem likely to you? Does that seem likely to you at this point?
Well, I would say 50-50 chances.
Well, 50-50 is 50-50 generous.
Yeah, but I'm not. I don't run the Shiv Sena. I don't know what's happening there. I'm watching the events as you unfold, as you're watching on television. I know extra information about what's happening in the party, but I hope that the party still is loyal to Mr. Balasaheb Thackeray's memory, then Balasaheb Thackeray's family. I don't think this rebellion. They have some grudge against some individuals around Mr. Thackeray. They will sort it out, I think. But okay. So I'm not completely given up hope. That there is a possibility that we may be able to retain this government and prevent BJP from taking over Maharashtra.
Well, 24 hours, I think, has been evidenced in the last week is a long time in politics. So, what we thought yesterday hasn't happened today, and tomorrow may bring yet another twist in this tale. Prithviraj Chavan, pleasure talking to you. Take care. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.